This episode of the School Zone podcast is brought to you by School Spirit Vending, hassle-free year-round fundraising for your school. At School Spirit Vending, we do all the work. You cash the check.
This interview was recorded live at the 2016 Texas PTA Conference in San Antonio, Texas. Now, here's Matt.
Hey, School Zone podcast listeners. Matt coming at you from San Antonio, Texas, at the Texas PTA Summer Leadership Seminar launch. And I'm excited to have none other than Mr. Nippy Betz from the Scholarship Leadership Institute here to talk today. We hit it off early on today.
Yes, we did.
And I think Nippy's been by like 25 times or something. Anyway, this guy is everywhere. He's got to know everybody in the room by now. So, Nippy, thanks for coming by, man. Excited to have you on.
Thanks, Matt. I'm really fired up about being around people who are excited about helping kids. This fires me up more than you'll ever know.
Awesome.
And this is a great program you have. I went to the website. I hope more people are looking at it. I'm going to push people towards your website because I love what I'm seeing.
Thank you. So tell us a little bit more about you and what you guys do at the Scholarship Leadership Institute.
Yeah, my wife and I run a company, the Scholarship Leadership Institute, where we help kids get into college and pay for it. Nobody does what we do better than what we do. We started with a nonprofit, Empowerment 21, where we were helping kids privately, going into their homes and helping them for 10 years. But it became such a cumbersome thing, and we were saddened by seeing all the kids with no scholarships. And so at some point I was doing that 40 hours a week, working a job for the general. I'm a retired Air Force officer, 50 hours a week. Something had to give. And so I gave up a six-figure income to help kids get six figures in scholarships.
Awesome. So what'd you do in the Air Force, man?
I flew satellites for a while. I did some surveying stuff when I was enlisted. Then I got my commission at LSU. And I flew satellites, and then I got into the training arena helping teach kids, and I was an adjunct professor at San Diego State University. Then I became a commander, basic training, where I trained 1 out of every 6 people who joined the Air Force for 2 years. And that's when I started my business. My daughter was number 2 out of 500. She never made a B in her life. Had a 1,300 on a math and verbal SAT and had no scholarships. And it broke my heart, and all her friends on the soccer team had no money. So that's when we started helping kids, because we knew I had a 9th grade son coming behind her, and he was trouble. I mean, this guy had a finger up his nose, and we didn't know what he was going to do. But they both got overpayments. They went to college. We helped them get enough scholarships to pay for school, and then to get checks every semester. And now we've helped 150-plus kids get overpayments every year for going to school, along with thousands that have gotten some form of scholarship.
So, where are you out of now?
I'm out of San Antonio here.
Okay. So you were at Lackland, I guess?
I was.
Okay. Yep. So you were that guy that every basic trainee loved to hate.
Well, I had 60 people like them who worked for me. I was the commander of people who they loved to hate. They loved me because I saved them. I was like God compared to those guys, but they put the pressure on. But we changed American kids one team at a time to make them better as far as becoming a part of a team and serving our nation, and I loved it.
Awesome. San Diego State, beautiful sunny California, yes. To San Antonio, Texas.
Yeah, it's a big difference, but you know what? It's all military towns.
Oh, yeah.
I just love serving the community, and a lot of our military-dependent kids who think they have all the money they need, they're finding out, too, they need to do more. So that's why I try to get 7th and 8th graders started now looking for scholarships. We have a couple of kids who've earned over $1 million. We've helped kids get a total of $40 million in merit-based scholarships over the last 12 years.
$40 million.
$40 million. The website's full of testimonials from kids from Notre Dame, from Yale, from Davidson, all over the nation.
So how did you transition into this, and how did you go from military career to being the resident expert on all things scholarships, man?
It's funny you should say that, Matt. What happened is my daughter had a need. We had a need, and we knew my son was coming, and it started just like that, and we looked around and saw the other kids. So in church, we looked around and we saw the same thing, and my church said, can you start a program here with the education department? So we started my nonprofit at the church, and it grew to the point where San Antonio started paying me to do it at the University of Texas here in San Antonio, paying me to do my workshops. that I was already doing for free. So they would pay me so they could put their name across it. And then they would have the back row full of people who were trying to get what I was teaching. But what happened is they can't duplicate what I'm doing. It's like Moses. Moses did what he did. No 2-star general or 3-star general can do what Moses did. But God inspired him. And I felt the same way. I think it was inspired. And I just take my talent from working with kids all my life, even in the military. Every job had something to do, except for flying satellites, had something to do with training kids, helping kids, motivating kids. So I've been doing this for 20-something years working with kids. Now I just do it for me and my wife. We're both home, and we do this full time.
So, first off, how do you decide who you're going to help out, or do you have the ability to help literally anybody?
I can literally help anybody. However, what happened is when we were doing the nonprofit, we focus in that area where we focus on need-based and so forth in the community. But what happened was I had people who had 6 figures, I had people who make $1 million who were saying, how can we use your services? So they started paying me to come to their cities to help their kids. And my wife and I realized we can't keep going like this. So what we did was I quit my job so that I could do more to help people. We were making 6 figures in our part-time helping kids of families who had the money to pay me. So now I was helping the kids who had a need and helping kids whose parents had the way of paying me. And I ended up just stopping the nonprofit as much, focusing on helping more people, speaking, which allows me now to do more pro bono work in the community. So schools, some people will pay me $3,500 to come speak, and some schools will pay me $0. I don't beg them or beat them over the head. I just go where God leads me, and I'm having fun all over the nation, and even when I go do stuff for free, I sometimes will make a lot of money after that by helping kids. So they might pay me $1,000, but they make $100,000. Pay me $500, but make $200,000. So that's what God has provided, is a way for me to make money doing what I'm passionate about, that thing that he put inside me, my purpose, to help kids graduate debt-free. So I'm the Dave Ramsey of scholarships. I like to look at it that way.
Awesome. I actually got to know Dave pretty well here a couple of years ago.
Love him.
Great guy.
He's the reason I'm out of debt right now, because of his college. What is it? There's several books that I've read from him, but something Financial Peace University and that other one. There's just so many things that he's helped me with. So I saw him in Phoenix not long ago, and I was right on the stage talking to him, and I said, "Just thank you for changing my life," is what I told him. And I hope, and I've had it already said, parents and kids are telling me the same thing now. Thank you for changing our life, because college debt is like cancer, and I want to cure the cancer before they ever get it. And that's what we do at the Scholarship Leadership Institute.
So you got to have a system of some kind, right?
Yes,
to be able to accomplish the success that you guys are accomplishing.
Yes,
So how does the program kind of work?
Okay.
You know, at least the basics of it.
Okay, so I have a website, Major Betz, my name, majorbetz.com. I also own the scholarshipdoctor.com. I own both of those. And so when you look at that, and I own those so people can go and get free information. That's there, my blogs and so forth. What happens is people want more. So I have products, audio books, regular books. I have courses. So I've recorded, and what they call it evergreen, recorded training that I've done before. And I create programs, some as low as $39 a month. I have some as high as $9.97 and $24.97 for the year. And then I have one where people just say, we know you got this course. We don't have time to do the work. We just want you to do it. So I have high school counselors and creative writing people that I pay to look at packages and look at essays, and we review the work for the kids. And so therefore we just help them apply for 100, 200 scholarships. Everybody has a ratio. So my daughter was 50%. She won 50% of everything she ever applied for. My son was 40%. My $2 million winners were 40%. And then I have others at 800 and 700,000. So my issue is, it's not that they can't get scholarships, they just don't do enough to get it. So it's like fishing. If you have your pole sitting up in the boat and there's no line in the water, no bait, you can't catch fish. We teach people how to take the line, put the bait in the water, and we catch scholarships.
You know, it's a marathon. It's not a sprint, right?
You got it.
And it's a numbers game.
It always has been.
And I get interviewed a lot because of our company, School Spirit Vending, that I founded 9 years ago. And one of the questions that's always been asked is, what is it that set you apart? It's not rocket science.
It isn't.
You're the rocket scientist here, flying satellites and all that. It's not rocket science. It's working the numbers.
You got it.
And if you're willing to work the numbers, you can succeed in just about anything.
Yes, sir.
The challenge is most people won't work the numbers.
Right.
They get weary in what they're doing. They quit before they ever really get started, right?
Right. And they don't know the fog of war. That's what's happening in the military, the uncertainty and the unknowns. In families all across America, I'm doing a TED Talk on this on the 24th of August in Wilmington, Delaware, coming up. This fog of war is killing our families because they don't know what they don't know. And right there, those kids have enough information, and they have enough right there to get enough scholarships to pay for college. I have white kids getting diversity scholarships for being white. I have kids who are 11-year-olds, $60,000 already, babies getting scholarships right now. The fog of war makes it where they don't understand and don't know that. And the only thing is, God put this thing in me to help families understand that they can do more. Some kids don't pay me a dime. This one kid in Chicago, she just sent me an email that she just went over $1 million and she thanked me for flying to Chicago. They didn't pay me. I flew to Chicago. They took care of my hotel. I fired up a library full of kids, and she just went over $1 million. And in her news interview, she said it's because of what I taught her at that show. So that's what I want to do for kids all over America. PTAs, churches, AAU sports teams, you name it. I go into homes and do private meetings with people and all their friends and family. And I travel around, and they don't pay me a dime in most cases. But those who are looking for me, I'm looking for them. And in that room might be somebody who wants to pay me to do what God gave me a gift to do. And that's how I've been making money over the last 2 years now.
Wow, that's incredible, Nippy. So how do you motivate the kids? I've got a couple of kids, 3. One's in school, one's soon to be in school, and then the third's got a couple of years yet.
That's right.
Rebecca here. I need to put her in your back pocket. But anyway, we actually hired a scholarship coach for my second, Sarah, and she worked with her for a little while. But even though I tried to tell her, hey, you need to work this like a job for a while, because that's essentially what it is.
It is.
This is your job. It lasted about a month and a half, and then she got busy with other stuff. And, of course, Mom and Dad are busy just trying to run the household and do what we do, to provide.
Yeah. I would love to tell you that every kid I've ever helped, all were perfect, and they weren't. I start with my book, What Would You Do If You Knew You Couldn't Fail? I try to take it and look at them with that and try to get them to think a little differently. And once I get them to think a little differently, I become daddy number 2. And I work with the kids, and every 2 weeks we talk to each other. And I provide scholarships to them to apply for, so they don't even have to find them. I'll find them for them and just say, just do this. And then they say, and give me your essay. I give it to my creative writing team, and they review the essay. And there's something about that process. Once we do this, they do 1, then they do 2, then they do 3, then they do 10. And when they win that first scholarship, oh my goodness, they're like excited. So you keep them in that process, and when I don't have them doing what I need them to do, I call Mom and Dad. I shoot you an email because I want you to engage with them and give them a little reason to be motivated with me. So it's a partnership. A coach can't do it by themselves. And the kid, and sometimes they're motivated, they will, but a lot of times they just need that extra push or threat, if you will, because don't give them I have 3 kids who've ever, right now in my whole program, in my 2 years, people who paid me money who didn't get 6 figures or above. And the reason they didn't, in my opinion, is because their family was incredibly wealthy and they weren't worried about going to college because they knew Mom and Dad would pay for it. Now, that won't always be the case, but I don't put my success on, I don't tie their success to me. I don't tie their failure to me. What I do works. I just need to find kids who will work it, who will take that fishing line, put it in the water, and go through. If it takes 200 scholarships or 100 scholarships, whatever it takes. So my $1 million winner applied for 104, 143. The other one was similar to that, but they had to go through the process. So that's what we have, a process. Parents, we run them through a process, but sometimes you don't need me. You can do it yourself if you're willing to put in the work, but a lot of parents say we just don't have the time or the energy. So that's where we come in.
Well, it's like I hired a coach.
Yes.
I went to Dave Ramsey's Entree Leadership here 3 years ago. I met a guy who actually was Dave's second advertising client on the radio 20 years ago.
Wow.
A guy by the name of Aaron Walker.
Okay.
And he and Dave are like this still
mm-hmm.
today. And when I walked away from that event, I got a ton out of Dave, but I met Aaron.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, you know what? I've got to find a way to get around that guy.
Yes.
Because he just, every word out of his mouth was wisdom.
Yes, sir.
Well, 2 years ago, I hired him as a coach.
Mm-hmm.
The best decision, bar none, in my life.
Awesome.
Not just for my personal and spiritual life, but for my business as well.
Okay.
And it's the same type of thing.
Yeah.
We all need people around us that can make us do things to be better.
Yes.
That can make us be the person that God truly made us here to become, right?
Yes, sir.
But most of the time, we don't have the ability to do it on our own.
I like the way you put that. Now, I looked it up the other day, and I compared myself to a Disney guide. You can take and go to Disney on your own, and you'll never get the full experience. We went to Disney 13 times, my wife and I and our kids. 13, 11 to Disneyland, 2 to Disney World. And it took us almost 10, 11 times to finally get it right. I never knew they had a guide who you can pay, and they'll help you get to the rides faster, do everything the first time, instead of going to Disney that many times. And so that's why I like to look at myself like that. Now, you have to pay the Disney person $1,800 to be your guide for that day for 6 hours, $300 an hour, and they'll take up to 8 kids. But when you get through, you have done so many things, and you kind of skirted around because you have a guide, somebody to lead you. That's the same thing when I go fishing. My Uncle Gilbert, he does it, and he knows where to go and what to do. I'm doing the same thing with scholarships. The goal, though, is for me to make parents and people understand I can. In the meantime, I just share my gift everywhere I can. And while I do it, I'm not going to hide my faith. I'm a Christian. And so it's like telling water not to be wet for me not to let people know that. So I'm ministering. I'm doing that Matthew 28 thing, but I'm also changing kids' lives because they're learning that they can go home. Yesterday, I talked to 40 kids. They're fired up going home typing middle school scholarships, 7th grade scholarships. And they texted me last night. They're actually finding scholarships now. They need to apply for them. I love that, and I would do that for free. I did it for free for 10 years. So if you find something you love and you can do it and get paid for it, there's no better life for you.
So, Nippy, how do you scale this thing, man?
Evergreen. I've automated stuff. I have hired counselors. I'm trying to replace myself because at some point I'm going to have to be the famous Amos of this cookie making company, if you will. So I'm doing that as best I can. I'm trying to lower costs as best I can. And the more people I can engage, the more I can push the price down. I'd rather make $10 a person and have them, but I can't eat if I do that. So that's the scaling part. So it's a balancing act. My wife just corrected me today. I wanted to lower prices on something. She said, baby, we can't. We still have to do this in order to pay our bills and, and eat. But I'm doing it as fast as I can to push prices down because I'd rather have 1,000 people paying me $10 than 10 people paying me $1,000, if that makes sense.
Good for you.
Yeah,
Good for you.
That's my goal.
So anything else you want to leave with folks? Any other parting thoughts at all?
Sure. I want them to understand this. There is no shortage of scholarships. There never has been. There never will be. All there is a lack of knowledge on how to acquire it. And if people can understand and get through that fog of war and that uncertainty and make up in their mind, we don't want to send our kids to college and graduate debt-free. We don't want to have them go to college and then 65% of them return home and live with us when they graduate. That's what's happening. 70% of them, according to the Wall Street Journal, they're no kidding graduating right now with student debt on average of $37,000 per kid. That's insane. That's not. God didn't intend for us to graduate in debt and our kids to start off that way. So I know that what I'm supposed to do is help them. And if I could do it for free, I would, but I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing to tell them they don't have to graduate in debt. They don't have to be that way. And I'm like a voice in the wilderness screaming as best I can. Quit going out there and graduating in debt when you qualify for scholarships. There are kids out there with 2,200 SATs, 4.0 GPAs, majoring in a STEM, biology, white female, and saying, I can't get scholarships because I'm white. That's crazy. They can. It's called merit-based scholarships. And even there's people who will give you money because you're white, because they want to balance that department that they're in. So they're giving white kids at the University of Georgia scholarships for being white males. And so that's what I'm saying. I want people to understand, quit making excuses. excuses are like armpits. Everybody got a pair and they stink. There you go. That's my closing thought there, Matt.
Major Nippy Betz, man, thank you
Yes,
for
sir.
being on, man.
I appreciate
We
it.
need to keep up,
Yes, sir.
definitely. And
Tell Rebecca get some scholarships.
Yes,
she
sir.
needs to start now.
yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Scholarship Leadership Institute. Check it out. You can go to majorbetz.com to learn more, correct?
Yes, sir.
And Nippy, thanks for being here, man. I hope you have a great show the next couple of days.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. God bless.
You too.
Thank you for listening to this interview that was recorded live at the 2016 Texas PTA Conference in San Antonio, Texas. If you enjoyed today's episode, we would be honored if you would leave a 5-star rating and review and hit subscribe on your podcast player of choice.
There are a lot of kids in this world just like me, except they don't have a way to get any clean drinking water. Clean Water Kids is the kid part of kidsacrosscultures.org, where we ask school kids to be our partner in raising awareness for water projects. Clean water changes kids, which changes schools and changes families. And when we help other kids get clean water, it changes us. Clean water changes everything. Raising money for water filters and other water projects is really easy. We have schools, organizations, and other groups all over who do it. Go to cleanwaterkids.com for more information and ideas on how you can partner with us. Although we focus on schools, you don't have to be a school to help us. You can tell your school, your team, your church, your club, or troop, or whatever you're a part of about cleanwaterkids.com and see how easy it is to help. I think every kid deserves clean water to drink. Don't you? I'm Travis, and I'm a Clean Water Kid.